Welcome to a deck profile video. I've made a few duels with Shaddolls, and that was requested by 12345sincara to make a deck profile video of it, so let's just go right into it. Starting off with 2 Denko Sekka. At the start, when Shaddolls became a thing, there were people who ran artifacts, people who ran light swords, people who ran some other stuff. And eventually what I found out, I believe at the last DNYCS, was that Denko Sekka was really popular. After that, I decided to use Denko Sekka in the deck myself, and it's proven really useful. I feel that now, with Necros being out, and them not using a lot of traps, and Shaddolls not doing that either, it's become a little less useful, but at the moment it's still in. I haven't actually faced any Necros yet, not with this deck. I faced them once with Cliffords, but I won that in 2 turns because OTK. But anyway, for now Denko Sekka's in. I'll see if it's still useful enough, or that I'll switch it out. But for now, Denko Sekka, it is very useful. Can help you secure an OTK with this deck. Mathematician, 3 of them, because it can get some really nice plays out. I'll immediately talk about Philly Slicer and Archer. It's in there pretty much to work with Mathematician. If you draw into it, it's a lot less useful. In that case, you'll still use Shaddoll Fusion or Shaddoll Fusion to just send it to the grave as fusion material. But you want it in the deck so you can use it with Mathematician, so that either you can use its effect to destroy something, but generally you'll synchro either into Arcanite or Black Rose. Generally Black Rose, just obliterate lots of things and destroy. But Mathematician also can do just send one of the Shaddolls to the grave. If you need 2 more Darks in the grave for Dark Armed Dragon, send Squamata and then something else. If you want to draw because you really need that one specific card that you can't search for, send Shaddoll Beast. If you really want to get rid of Spell Trap, Shaddoll Dragon. If you just want a monster in the field to get an extra material for Shaddoll Fusion, Shaddoll Falco. If you really want a certain Shaddoll in your hand, the Hedgehog. So that way I've already gone over these. Sort of. Like the Shaddolls, they have other effects that, like, especially Beast, you don't generally go into, but I'll get to Beast in a sec. Schematic can target a card in the field and destroy it. I don't often go for their flip effects, actually. I've found myself barely ever doing it. Well, not barely ever sounds a bit too little, but I don't too often go for their flip effects. Not with Schemata and Dragon, anyway. Because my summon, like my normal summons, are usually just Mathematician, Denko Sekka, and maybe these things in attack mode just deal damage. But I definitely know of their flip effects and what they can do. And I will make use of them if I have to, if they have like a strong monster that I need to get rid of. The Schemata. Dragon can target a card the opponent controls or return to the hand. Doesn't have to be a monster. It doesn't destroy either, so stuff that can't be destroyed, like Shaddoll Winda, Dragon can get rid of. Schemata can just destroy it, so then they can't. It's a lot more difficult to resummon it. Well, depending on the card, really, but. Falco, its flip effect allows you to special summon a Shaddoll from the grave and special summon it in face on defense, which helps get the flip effects going again. That's really the only way that you'll usually ever get to the flip effects Shaddoll Beast. Almost never any other way. But note that it says Shaddoll monster, not level something or below Shaddoll monster. You can summon the fusions back. Sure, in face on defense, but then when it's your turn again, you can just flip summon them. Or when you do this on your turn the next turn. And even if you can't, you still have like a 2500 defense in Construct, which can still add a Shaddoll spell trap from grave to hand. Would it be destroyed that turn immediately? And then the Hedgehog can add a Shaddoll spell trap from deck to hand. Shaddoll Fusion, Shaddoll Fusion. 2 Chaos Sorcerer in here. That's usually one of the first cards I side out because I generally not go into them. I also have BLS, definitely the better one out of them. But it's generally one of the first I side out, not because it's bad, just because I don't draw into it too much. And I already have like Black Dragon Clap Serpent and White Dragon Wyvern Burster to banish some things. Chaos Sorcerer can definitely be useful. It can banish a card, nice 2300 attack, it doesn't cost you a normal summon. These things a little weaker than Chaos Sorcerer, a little less effects than them in BLS, but they can be a nice summon. Black Dragon Clap Serpent can get rid of Wyvern. Wyvern Burst can get rid of any of the darks you have, many of the Shaddolls. when you summon them to the field and then use them for, let's say, Shaddoll Fusion, you can then activate their effects at the other. By the way, Mathematician can also send Eclipse Wyvern to the grave to banish Dark-Armed Dragon, and then you summon Collapsed Serpent, banishing Wyvern, to get Dark-Armed Dragon in your hand immediately. So that could be a combo that you could try. Yeah, Dark-Armed Dragon, very useful in a dark deck, and I can manipulate it with Wyvern. At first I was like, when I saw someone use both Wyvern and Dark-Armed Dragon, I was like, why? One target, I took out Wyvern. Because I was like, one target, not good enough. Sure, if you draw into Wyvern, or draw into Dark-Armed Dragon, Wyvern is not very useful anymore. It's really just the light, just like Felice if you draw into it. But the way you can manipulate it, just by sending it to the graveyard via Mathematician, and then like banish it with BLS, Chaos Sorcerer, Black Dragon, Collapse Serpent to immediately get Dark Armed in your hand, that can really help you with OTKs, or not necessarily even OTKs, just set up big plays. Eclipse Wyvern can be very much a major thing. Shaddoll Fusion fuses stuff, and if an opponent has a monster summoned from the extra deck, you get some free stuff on the deck, and you can just pretty much choose what you want to send. Great against Burning Abyss, Stellar Knight against Shaddoll. Clifford, sometimes when they do Pendulum Summon, because then it does count. Necros not as much, because they don't really summon from the extra deck. But, you know, Shaddoll Fusion is still a nice card to have. Shaddoll Fusion, if you don't have Shaddoll Fusion, you can use this as a regular fusion card. But you can also just summon some stuff, and then once you're done with all your attacks in the battle phase, then you play Shaddoll Fusion, fuse two of your things, to play a new monster, let's say Construct, to get another 2800 damage in, which can very much help with the OTK. Allure of Darkness for some draw power. Foolish Burial to just send something from deck to grave, so any of your stuff that gets an effect when sent there, Wyvern even. Felice doesn't work with that, like Wolf, Lightsword Beast does, because it just has to be sent by card effect. Felice has to be sent by monster effect. Mathematician. But you can just send any of these things to get their effects, or you can just send a light if you really want to. Let's say Denko Sekka, if you have Black Dragon Collapse Serpent in your hand, but no lights to banish for it, you can do that as well. Snatch Steal, because it's a very powerful card, can change games. I was playing against Stellar Knights yesterday and raided, and they had Stellar Knight Constellar Diamond. I stole it with Snatch Steal. So sure, I still couldn't play all of my Shaddoll effects, but I had a good enough field to just attack him, and he had Vanity's Emptiness up. And he was like, alright, I summoned Satellar and Unukalhai, send a card from deck to grave, destroy my Vanities, and then do like an Altair, Vega, whatever combo. He had Soul Treasures in his hand too to help with that. Didn't work because I had his monster. Snatch Steal, very powerful. 2 MST to get rid of like some back row. That has proven really useful. I have a third in my side deck because MST is just a very good card. 3 Signature Shadow Gaze because it can send any of my Shaddolls to the graveyard to get whichever of their effects that I want. And would I have a Shaddoll face down, I can also flip it face up to get some nice flip effects going. And then 1 Shaddoll Core. I don't find it that useful when it's on the field. The main thing I use Shaddoll Core for is I want this in the deck. It's still useful if I draw into it, more than Wyvern and Felice. Maybe not even, but anyway, I don't really want to draw into it. I wanted to stay in the deck, because I'll summon Shaddoll Construct quite quickly, usually in almost every game. And then you can send a Shaddoll card from your deck to the grave. Sure, you can send Skomata or Beast or Dragon or whatever. You can also send Core, just like with when you send Skomata to the grave by any card effect. You can send Core to the graveyard, because it's still a Shaddoll card, and it just says send a Shaddoll card, not a Shaddoll monster. And if you send Core to the graveyard, you can then target a Shaddoll spell trap in your grave and add it to hand. So let's say you play Shaddoll Fusion and fuse Shaddoll Beast with Eclipse Wyvern, play Construct. Construct then sends Shaddoll Core to the graveyard. Shaddoll Core then adds Shaddoll Fusion back to your hand, so you can just use it again next turn. I'd say that's very good. At the moment I have a 2 window. 3 construct. I barely go into the 3rd construct, often 2, barely even 3rd, but it's happened before. Shikinaga, barely go into it, but I have gone into it, so it is useful. Armades as a level 5 synchro. I don't often go into my synchros, but it does happen, because, you know, Falco or Felice. Goyo, once again, don't often go into synchros. This is the synchro I least go into, even less than my level 8. Then I have Arcanite and Black Rose, can be made in two ways. Usually it's Mathematician and Felice, but it can also be done Falco Beast, because if you hadn't noticed yet, the main deck Shaddolls are all spellcasters. Do not ask me why. They're spellcasters. So yeah, it can summon Arcanite Magician. Black Rose can also be summoned to destroy stuff. I had the space for one more synchro monster. I'm like, I want to level 8 in there, because Felice plus Squamata or Dragon or something. What do I summon? I was like, what do I play? Could use Stardust, and I considered Hot Red Dragon. I summoned it once, and it was somewhat useful. Stardust wasn't really useful in that point. I have this one in there right now. I could just really take it out. Like, there's the Water Shaddoll thing right now. It's not on the end yet, but once it is, and I update my deck to fit that one, I do want to put it in the deck, obviously, because I'd say it's a very good card. So then I just take out Hot Red Dragon actually, because I barely ever use it. Leo, originally I had it in the deck, but I never summoned it, so I took it out. But then I realized again why I put it in the deck originally. It's Falco plus Construct. So Construct, and then because it's sent to grave, doesn't even need to be by a card effect. Get a Shaddoll spell trap from back to hand, and this thing just defends you because it cannot be targeted by opponent's card effects. So that's quite a nice card to have. I don't often go into it. I don't often have. Sometimes I have the ability to go into it. I don't often want to. Like a few days ago, I did want to, but I didn't have it in there yet, I think. Yeah, that was like the last duel before I put it back in. So, it can be a very good card. And then I have Constellars and number 101 to just get rid of some annoying cards, monsters the opponent has. They're useful in their own ways. It really depends on what I want or what the effect of the opponent's monster is. This thing only works on special summoned attack position monsters. This thing just needs a monster to be face up. This thing is slightly less strong, and after it attaches to Xyz materials, is just there as a monster. This thing, when attaching to Xyz materials, will still have one left, the opponent's monster to defend itself with. Then Gaga Cowboy, again, don't often use it, but there have been moments where it either would have been useful, would I have had it, or it has been useful, and I've been able to OTK because of it. So Gaga Cowboy is in there as well. For the side deck, I'm going to go for these first. The Monarch Storm 4th, because Vanity's Feed has proven to be quite useful in this deck. Sometimes I add Mobius as well, not often. Sometimes I do, depending on what deck I'm playing against. I have a Mind Control to steal more of their stuff, MST to destroy things, Fairy Wind for Cliff Forts, and then Drone Lockbird and Mischief of the Gnomes are in there for Necros. Now, as I said, I've only played against Necros once, and that was an OTK in a single duel, so I have yet to find out if Mischief of the Gnomes and Drone Lockbird really are that useful. Necros players, and people who play against Necros, but especially Necros players that watch my videos, please let me know how much Mischief of the Gnomes and Drone Lockbird actually work against Necros, against your build, against your deck. Because I'd like an insight on Necros. I'll be trying them out sometime. Not yet, but let me know. Drone Lockbird, Mischief of the Gnomes, how good are they to counter Necros? That was it for the video right now. I will see you guys in the next one. Okay, bye.